if you've never run a business or do a business degree and you start a business, like, oh, nobody ever taught me like how to overcome this problem. It's having that real knowledge and experience. And so if you're asking ChatGPT, I think can be very helpful. I also, on the other side of the coin, I think it can be very dangerous too.
Welcome, Ben Simkin, to Balls Deep. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing well, Michael. I am a little bit nervous. Like, this is your podcast. It's just, I mean, I've known you for 11 years, so it's exciting to be here.
I'm actually honored to have you here because I've known you for well over a decade now, which makes me feel old for starters. But your experience, your expertise, your marketing knowledge, your business acumen has helped me get to where I am today. So I'm the one that's honored, mate. I'm really excited to have you here and have a really deep discussion about some of the topics that are really important in the world of business and the ones that you're particularly passionate about. Because I know that you've got some gold nuggets that you're going to be sharing today. I don't know what they are yet, but I'm sure we'll find them.
No, I'm not sure either.
Okay, well, maybe what I think we should do to start is I know you very well, but the people who are listening probably don't. So maybe we could just start a little bit about who is Ben Simkin? What's your background? Who are you?
Yeah. So I was a very small baby, and then no, I'll start a little bit further down. So I think it's kind of pertinent to go back to, where we are now on the timeline of, life, the world, business and marketing and everything else. I think it's pertinent to go back to this little boy at the age of 13 and got his first computer. And I'm old enough to have lived through a time where computers were not very, very prolific. Internet didn't exist at that point. And so I got my first computer and I was so intrigued by this machine. I went down to the library and wanted to learn everything there was to know about computers. And I found all of these old, really dusty, smelly textbooks from like 1970 era of like how to do programming, how to do this, how to do that. And from that age, I really got in straight away into the real deep underbelly of computers and started, I'd go to school, do my school stuff. At lunchtime, I'd read some books on computers. I'd take some home. Then all night long, I didn't sleep. I would write software. I'd make like computer games and other things and stuff for my friends at school. And really getting into that, it was such a obsession of mine that I wanted to learn absolutely everything there was to know about this stuff. And so I got there. It was a number of years later when I was 16. I got into computer hacking, just for fun, right? And it's lucky I'm not, behind bars because I was, "Oh, I wonder if I can get into this company. I wonder if I can hack into that company," and so on. And then eventually, "Hey, the schools have these computers. Let's see what we can do." And I'd go in there and I'd muck around in there. Well, I got caught. Red-handed actually, and got sent home from school on an indefinite suspension. So basically, they didn't know if they're gonna let me back in.
Mm.
My dad thought it was a joke. My mum was very upset. So I had this kind of like contrast of reactions. But then, yeah, that kind of led on to other things because, getting into business, which I can share with you, is like I got into business very early on. But when shortly after that, my parents got a very strange phone call from a local business owner. And he said, "Oh, can your son hack into our computers for us?" Very, very strange, right? So what happened was this company, he had an IT manager with, all their networks and their computers, and something happened. I'm not sure what happened, but the IT manager was like, he quit, he left, and he locked the whole company out of their entire infrastructure, so out of their entire system. And they had to do these financial reports and all this they had these legal obligations for the running the company every month, and they couldn't do it. So basically, it was like they were going to be, they had to find someone to help them get back in because otherwise they would have been toast, right? So they got me in. I went in over a weekend because I was still at that stage. they'd let me back in. Um, Long story short, the principal came back from where he was and said, "Oh, no, no, let this guy back in. It's okay." But I went in over the weekend and restored access to the entire system, and the guy paid me like $2,000. But what was interesting then, he also said to me, he made a comment that kind of stuck with me for a while. And he said, "Hey, you should start your own business one day because I think you're smart enough to do that." I had no idea really anything about what a business really was at that point, so I kind of didn't do anything with it. But it kind of had a seed or an idea that later on kind of came back to me, and I was like, "Oh, I could do this." So that's how I got into business very young. Uh, yeah.
Right. So from computers, particularly your passion for computers, to then realizing you could monetize that passion, is that a connection that you made?
Well, I mean, in a way, I ended up getting some jobs at some pretty high level corporate IT gigs, where, I would go into, I remember one time I went into this massive stockbroker's office, on the ASX, right? And, they needed this computer needed fixing. And I was the only one in the company that I was working for that knew how to fix it.
Hmm.
I was the youngest by far, but I was the only one that knew how to actually fix a specific issue. And the computer they sent me on, it cost $1,000,000, and that was, around 22 years ago. So this was, super expensive computer that they unleashed. I think I was around 17 years old doing this. And they were like, they saw this little kid come in. Obviously, there's millions of dollars of transactions flowing through and all this kind of stuff. And one of the brokers is like, "Do you even know what you're doing, kid?" And I'm like, "I took great offense." I'm like, "Yes, of course I know what I'm doing." Um, yeah, so I went in there and fixed it. It was like pretty easy for me to do. So it took like 5-10 minutes, and now like, but I think they were like weirded out that there was like this little kid basically.
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't see myself as a kid. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a young adult," right? But I had these kinds of experiences, and I actually helped build a lot of not a lot of, at least some of the internet infrastructure in the country as well, because at the time, internet was very new. So I was helping build things like internet servers, DNS servers, and things like that. Very mission critical stuff. Stuff that if they went down, would cause a lot of cost to the companies. So, I had this kind of like, mindset of making sure that everything was stable and stayed up forever.
Did you love what you did back then?
Oh, it was a dream job. I mean, at 17, working at that company, I was getting paid $8 an hour, but and no overtime. And I just absolutely loved that job. And I would even stay till like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. And the boss would come back later and go, "What are you doing? You should be at home." Like I wasn't even getting paid from anything from 5 o'clock onwards. But I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just making this software or I'm doing this thing, uh, whatever." So it was just absolutely fantastic time.
Are you any different today from like working overtime and doing extra hours because you're so excited about the coding work?
I didn't think I'm any different. I mean, now I get paid more money than I get paid more than $8 an hour, but I definitely have the passion. I mean, I'm a big believer in like you should only do stuff that fires you up. You know, some people kind of have a different opinion about, you should chase the money and all this kind of stuff, which is true. You do need to make money, but that's only one side of the coin. I think the other side of the coin is you need to do something that really fires you up and you have a passion for, because the difference is, I don't know if you've ever had this situation, is when you're doing something that you don't enjoy, but you kind of need the money because you need to pay the bills and so on. It's like the energy and everything that you bring to it is not very high. Whereas if you have something you're doing that, maybe initially doesn't make a lot of money, but it could in the future, but you jump out of bed, like you jump out of bed at like 6 o'clock in the morning and you're like, "Damn it, let's go. I love this." You are actually going to succeed way more than if it was just, "Hey, I'm getting big money, but I hate it."
Is that based on your own experience or have you noticed other people demonstrating that?
I think it's definitely true for me. I don't know if it's true for like absolutely everyone. But I think if that resonates with you and if you know listen to this and you think back and say, yeah, you know, like when I did that job, I didn't really like it and it was a real grind versus, you know, when I did the other thing, jumped out of bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I loved it. I think if you have, it's like an energy source. Like you have this energy source that pushes you that should inevitably, you know, help you create that success.
So everything that you've been doing, if you think about the highest highs of your business career, do you think that you were aligned the most with passion in those moments?
Yeah, every time that I did well, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What about when you didn't do well? Were you still passionate or do you think it was something else?
Well, so I remember some times when I was doing it, I kind of fell out of love with some of the things I was doing.
Hmm.
You know, when I was running my first company towards the end, I fell out of love with that. Some of the marketing stuff I was doing in the past, I mean, I love marketing, but some of the projects I was doing fell out of love with because it just felt like they weren't aligned. And it's hard to push yourself to do a great job if you're kind of like if it feels like physically painful, like it's this emotional burden. It's
Mm.
hard to do. And I think if you find yourself in that position, I think you're doing everyone, including yourself, a disservice. I mean, that's what I believe for myself, I should say.
So you've set up the mastermind. You've also the founder of BusinessNet,
Hmm.
and you've been doing a whole heap of brand new AI projects.
Yeah.
You've been positioned as Australia's, if not the world's, number one Facebook marketer across all countless media outlets. And I believe from the people that I know in Australia specifically, you have been I guess, the mentor behind some of the best and most successful marketers in Australia, and people wouldn't
Mm,
know that.
mm.
So you've achieved all of these things. Of all the things that I've just mentioned, what are you most proud of?
That's a tough one, man. Like I'm proud of all of it. And you know, it's funny because the mastermind actually started off as a passion project, and that has been hugely successful. Like I was already, I mean, I've been running my agency. We were doing, you know, upwards of $10 million a year in the agency. I didn't do the mastermind because I need to make a little bit extra money. It wasn't like about the money, right? It was like, no, I want to do this thing where I bring a bunch of people, you know, great people together. I want to build a tribe of business owners that are all like-minded and I get to help them and they get to like, you know, help everyone. So I launched the mastermind. It was just, I kind of called it a side project at the time, but it, it took on a life of its own. And now it's like, it's 12 years old now.
Can't believe
So
it's gone that long. That's
yeah.
amazing. So you've got the mastermind, and the purpose of the mastermind from when I joined back 12 years ago, now I feel really old, thank you, was we were focusing on learning lead generation and how to use Facebook advertising, how to do it the right way. Do you think everything that we were going through then is still relevant today?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think that it is fundamentally one of the most critical things that you, as a business owner, need to have. You need to have leads, qualified people coming to you. You need to have sales in order to get clients. Like fundamentally, if you don't have clients, you don't have a business because you could actually have, you know, oh, you know, we've got our operations going and we got, you know, I'm working on my website and I'm doing this other stuff and I'm doing spreadsheets and whatever. If you do not have clients coming to you and you do not have a business. So I think that hasn't changed at all. In terms of how to do lead gen, how to get clients, I think that's changed materially. But in terms of like what is, you know, one of the most important things is the ability to acquire customers and clients.
What do you think are the key requirements or the key skills in order for someone to generate leads today?
Well, I don't think it's changed for like, you know, 1,000 years. I think it's the fundamentals are the same. It's just the method of doing it. It's kind of like, you know, maybe 1,000 years ago we would use a shovel or whatever to dig a hole, but now we have machines, right? same kind of principle, where fundamentally what we're doing is we are, with marketing, specifically in acquiring customers and clients, we are fundamentally required to deeply understand, the marketplace, the target market. We need to have something we're going to provide that they want or need or both, and be able to articulate that or be able to communicate that in a way that they can instantly understand. That is like the words, the language, the communication. Because when you're thinking about, say, for example, Facebook ads, you use text and you use creatives, you use images, videos, whatever. These are all just forms of communication, right? And then if you're on a sales call, you're using primarily you're talking, right? And it's just all forms of being able to explain something that can be received by that person that they recognize as something that they want to acquire. That's the basis.
So, of those steps, a deep understanding of their customer, creating an offer, creating something that they want, and
Hmm.
articulating that and creating messaging that resonates
Hmm.
with them and compels them, like, essentially to take the action that we want.
Mm.
Where do you think people struggle the most with that process?
Well, all of it
Or
in
everything.
different ways. So, I mean, the common things are people have never really, really deeply thought about target market. What's going on in their mind? What's going on in their lives? What are their emotions? What are they feeling? What are the frustrations and fears and wants and aspirations that that target market has? And what do they actually want? So when it goes to the offers, like, what do they actually want? See, a lot of people will do this. They go, I have this offer, I have this product or service, or I am a insert, identity here. I'm a technician, I'm a painter, I'm a marketing guy, I sell cars, whatever it is, right? Which they don't actually, they're not the thing they think they are, right? I won't go down that rabbit hole. But basically, they go, okay, I have this thing now. I'm going to try and make people want it, right? I'm going to go, hey, everyone, you need to buy this because I want to sell it. What if you could figure out what it is that they actually wanted first? And they, through your market research, they go, you know what? I'd really love it if I could solve this problem or this frustration. And you go, well, hey, do you want to solve this frustration? Here's the solution. Finding out what it is that they want, right? First.
How do you do that? Like, how, like, because I know that some people think they know what their customers want,
Mm.
but when they speak to a marketer or they do a little bit further research, they realize they were completely wrong. And
Well,
I know
the
every
other
business
thing,
owner isn't a professional marketer, nor are they experienced in this research. So
yeah.
how do we actually know?
Well, the other thing is you could be selling something that people want, but then the market changes. Things happen. The world changes, and all of a sudden they don't want that anymore.
Like
So
Blockbuster Video, right?
a lot of people find themselves in that where they're like, hey, you know what? How my marketing used to work so good. We were making so much money, but I don't know what's going on. It's getting harder and harder and nothing seems to be working. Well, it could be that the market has moved on. It could be that you're still selling records when people want to, Spotify, and it can be very subtle of the shift and people don't realize it. So there's that. Gary Halbert, great quote. Um, the best thing to sell is what people are buying.
Mm.
So when it comes to how do you do that, there's a lot of different ways and you can sort of use all of them. So one way is you can do as simple as surveys. Hey, what is it you want? What is it you need? Right. Have real communications with your prospects, with your clients, and try to get information out of them. And sometimes you have to be a little bit smart because they might not always be able to give you exactly what it is. You have to kind of read between the lines. You have to figure out, okay, no, he told me he wanted X, but no, actually he wanted the other thing. Right.
Do you
I
think
mean,
it's
Henry
curiosity,
Ford.
isn't it? It's being deeply curious and fascinated with the people
Henry
that you're
Ford,
trying to
he
get.
said, if I asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said faster horses.
What did Steve Jobs say about what people want? Didn't he say that people don't know what they want?
Well, I mean, generally, if you take the Henry Ford example, it's like, what do you want? Well, I'd love to get a faster horse. Okay, well, what can I can't make a faster horse, but what else could I do? I could make a car that would be faster than a horse. So you got to use your brain, right? Go, okay, well, okay, he said this, but maybe I could do that.
So if you've got multiple services or products and you've got a brand new offering compared to an offering that the marketplace knows has demand for and wants to buy, you're suggesting that it'd be far better off for them to focus their marketing efforts on the product in demand rather than trying to get them to buy this new thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't actually generally a business owner does not generate demand. They tap into it. They channel it into their business. We're not in the demand creation business. We're in the demand channeling business of where's the demand? Okay, let's go there.
Hmm.
Right. Whereas a lot of people, when they're getting into marketing, are like, oh, the purpose of marketing is to create demand. No, it's not.
I think a lot of people go into business for lots of different reasons. And I think some of us are because we're really good at what we do. Like it's almost like the skill. You think back to when you were young, you've
Mhm.
discovered that you're really, really good and you enjoyed the computer hacking and the programming and technology. You loved that. And so therefore
Mhm.
it's almost like the business fell into your lap almost. You didn't go seeking the business. It almost came to you and just and you
Yep.
fell into it. And I
Uh-huh.
know a lot of people sort of fall into business where it's just their identity is like, "That's what I do." But
Mhm.
they've never learned, I guess, the principles of marketing, or they wouldn't see themselves as a marketer, would they?
It's interesting you bring that up because when I was in my first company was software and IT business, computer business. And I was, I'm the computer guy. I'm the computer guy. And when I sold that company, it's still running today, by the way, 26 years later, without me, because I sold it. After I sold that business, something shifted in me where I realized I was not my business. It wasn't my baby. A lot of people think like, oh, this is my little baby. And you kind of like you have these emotions, these emotional attachments, which can sometimes prevent you from seeing things a bit clearer, more objective. But when I sold that, there's something that made me realize actually, this is what it is. You own and operate, or you own a business. You are not the business, and that's a big shift.
So who are they?
Who are the people?
If they're not if they're not their business and they're who are they then?
Well, they're just people experiencing this experience on the planet. Like it's all they really are. It's
Hmm.
like we create identities, and they can be useful, right? Identities can be very useful. It's like if you want to achieve a goal, first of all, set the identity. For example, if I want to be more fit and healthy, and I take on the role of athlete, for example, I'm an athlete. Okay, what would an athlete do? Well, he would eat this, he would go to sleep here, he would go to the gym. So taking on identity is a very powerful way to achieve a goal. But when it comes to things where, oh, I'm a business coach or I'm a plumber or whatever, these sometimes can hold us back from achieving a lot more
The I
because
am
they
statement, right? Like
they
it's like,
cut us off from seeing other opportunities of other ways of
yeah,
doing things or seeing things.
that's really interesting. And you're right, because from a psychological point of view, if anything after an I am statement is final. It's a closed statement. It's not open. It's not negotiable. It's I am.
It's a
So
thought terminator. It
yeah.
terminates any other thoughts that you could be open to.
And so rather than being closed thinking, we want to be open thinking, right? We want to have an
Mm,
open mind in terms of possibility. So
yeah.
in terms of even like, so rather than identifying as what we do, that's the trap because what you do isn't you.
Mm. Well, I kind of phrase it like this, like, my name's Ben. I like to go to the gym and I like to play, you know, at the moment, I like to play paddle on the weekends. And I so happen to do marketing and I so happen to make software
Mm.
and I make AI solutions as well. So like, is my identity any different from the guy who plays paddle on the weekend to doing, building AI solutions, for example? It's kind of like, I don't, yeah, if I go to a party, which I don't do, but if I went to a party, what do you do? Well, I play paddle on Sunday. We usually default to like our occupation.
Yeah.
Why do we do that?
I think it's because of how we've been trained in society in terms of like, what do you want to be when you grow up? That question
Yeah.
as a kid, like, and then, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor.
You
And
know,
that
that's a,
becomes the goal.
yeah, that's a really interesting kind of thing. Something that I learned maybe a year or two ago is like a lot of times when you ask, what do you ask if you have a child, right? It's either, what do you want to be when you grow up or what do you want to do when you grow up? Right. But nobody ever asks, what do you want to have when you grow up? What would you like to have? Because if you know what you want to have, that can inform what you want to be and do, right? I want to be a firefighter. Okay, cool. What do you want to have? Well, I'd like to, I'd like to work, 4 days a week and I'd like to have a motorbike and I like, whatever it is, right? But the have will inform what it is that you actually want to do and be.
It reminds me of that model, the be, do, have model. Who do you
Yes.
want to be? What do you want to do to what you want to have? And it's almost like the be and the do are fused together. Like because what I do is therefore who I'm being.
Yeah. Well, and therefore it's what you're having as well.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
And so that
Yeah.
becomes the goal, which keeps us stuck. So if I say I'm an accountant, that's my identity. How much more difficult would it be for me to be good at marketing then, with that
Mm.
identity of I am an accountant? Because doesn't that shut off the possibility that I could be good at marketing?
It's better to ask yourself, what is it I want to have? Because if I'm an accountant, as an example, man, I love accounting, blah, 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 but I'd love to have more clients. Okay, cool. Who do I need to be? What do I need to do? Oh, I need to be marketing guy.
And how is that just a decision to be the marketing? Because you weren't the marketing guy when you were younger. At what point did you decide that you were the marketing guy?
Uh, well, I sold my first business. I actually didn't know what I was going to do because I kind of still had my identity as well. So I was, early 20s. I was like, I don't know what to do with my life now. I was lost. And my coach at the time, I'd done a little bit of marketing for a company and I quite liked it. And I did actually a really good job. I made them like a few $1 million as well with the
I
marketing I was
I
doing.
only made them a few $1 million. I love how like nonchalant you are about. I just made them a few $1 million. That's good. It's all in a day's work,
Well,
really.
obviously I had some sort of knack for it or just a bit of luck, but um, because he had a good offer. But my coach is like, oh, you did that marketing thing. You like that. Why don't you do that? I'm like, yeah, you're right. I did like it. So that's when I kind of got into marketing 20, 21 years ago.
That's probably what you connected with, like what you said, like what you're passionate for. Like if you're not passionate about something or you don't enjoy it, then that's the issue. But you
Mm,
found you really like technology, and so you did it. And then you discovered that you really liked marketing, so you did it.
mm, mhm.
And do you think you
Plenty
love
of
them
things
both
I don't
equally?
like.
Is it an equal love, or do you have a favorite?
Well, I don't think I would want to be I mean, there's probably a lot of roles that I wouldn't want to do that I wouldn't enjoy. So I wouldn't even think about those. But I love marketing. I love business. I love technology. I actually feel like it's crazy because I feel like it's all converging a lot more than it has in the past because now we have AI, right? And because of my deep background in technology, like, you know, I was programming things at a very low level with like, Unix. I used every Unix platform, Linux platform. I was building internet servers. I was doing a lot of stuff. And then I got into with the marketing, and then obviously I've been a business owner because I've been doing businesses. All these things kind of like I feel like converging into this thing where it's like, oh, now I can do like AI, technology, marketing, business. It's just and it's so exciting and a lot of fun.
It's really like the evolution of all your experience, all the types of industries that you've been in. It's almost like we're in the era where those skills are the most essential to succeed.
Yeah, and if you think about like a lot of people who are doing things out there, say it's with I don't know. I mean, that's why I had an edge with marketing. As Jeff Moore, one of my mentors, He was like, you get it because you get the business side and the marketing side. Whereas, a lot of marketing people, they've never run a company, like a proper big company, and they don't get that enterprise idea. But when I was doing marketing, I understood like the whole chain,
All right. So
marketing, sales, business.
this is a question that I'm really curious of your answer to. Is what do you think the difference is between therefore business and marketing? Because to go to market with your product at the right price, the right place, the right promotion, like traditional marketing 101. And to say that, to be successful in business, we all need to be marketers. We need to be like, if you can't market yourself, you probably don't have a business. So what's the difference between marketing and business?
I'd say there's a lot of differences, but to keep it simple, I think that there's two sides to a coin, and I think those two sides are supply and demand. Marketers generally are working on the demand side. You know how to tap into that demand and bring it to your business. Business is kind of like this you have to manage and balance out very well supply and demand. So bringing in the client customer, delivering the product and service, and obviously administration as well. But it's sort of like you have to have this balance, because if you're not balanced there, if you have too much supply, not enough demand, or too much demand, not enough supply, you're in a bad position. You have to know how to constantly keep those balls in the air or spin the plates across the whole thing, like every single area. Like there's 21 different departments generally in a company.
Mm.
You have to know how to manage it all.
That's all the many hats of the business owner, right?
Yeah.
So all the hats, and there's finance, there's operations, there's recruitment, there's marketing, there's sales, there's all these different elements. And every specialist in those particular areas is going to say ours is the most important. Like if you
Mm.
have the wrong people, like Richard Branson would say that the people make your success. If you don't hire A players, you don't get the right people, then you're never going to build the successful business, or the culture of your organization becomes your competitive advantage. Whereas then the marketer will say, well, your ability to generate leads and convert them position your brand and all that is the most essential. Otherwise you're a nobody. And then the
Mm.
operations guy is going to say, well, that's all well and good, but if you don't have systems and operational process, then you're never going to be able to deliver it and you're going to fail. Are they all equal?
I think it all comes back down to what do they all have in common? People. So what is the most important thing? If someone says operations, okay, that requires people. Marketing, okay, that requires people. Well, it requires people coming in. It requires team. It requires the marketers. They're all people. So it comes back down to people. That is
Does it
definitely the
But what
thing.
about with AI now? Like we know organizations like Atlassian letting go hundreds of employees. Woolworths and Coles are removing checkouts and making it all self-served. Same with McDonald's. The idea of starting as a teenager, learning how to do customer service is kind of like a dead art. It's basically, can you call out a number,
Mm.
yell it out, and that's you've done your job, as opposed to actually getting to know people. With AI call centers and AI bots, are we shifting away from that
Mm.
people being the center of the organization?
Good question. You're still going to have people, right? I mean, across different things that we've been doing in a number of different business ventures, we've been able to replace up to 80% reliance on people. But who's creating that? Who's managing those AI processes? So I think you might need less people, but you still need to have the best people.
But the skill set of those people now is learning how to manage AI now, isn't it?
Learning how to manage the AI and understanding probably the fundamentals of that. Yeah.
Because we're in an era now that the business landscape is changing so rapidly, it's actually hard to keep up. Like literally in some of the groups, they're following all the updates with Claude, the AI, and just
Hmm.
can't keep up with all
Mm.
the updates.
Hmm.
And it's almost like the horse is bolted. My job is to run to try
Run
to
after
keep
the
up.
horse?
Like I've just got to try and keep up. The .com era where do you have a website? Oh, I better have a website. Well, now it's a
Yeah.
case of, oh, do you have an AI assistant? Or you
Hmm.
better get one. You better get
Yeah.
and then you see people on social saying, I've built my entire team with
Hmm.
AI
Mm.
agents, but then you look behind it and you realize that they're kind of just doing automation. They're not really independent thinkers, but I know it's moving in that direction. It's scary. I got to say, like, particularly for the business owner who's used to the way things have been.
Hmm.
How do you even adapt to this new way? Because it's going to keep changing, right?
It's going to keep changing, definitely. I think you need to be plugged. I think you definitely need to be plugged into the right people who have a handle on it. I'm very lucky enough to be one of those people because of my background. Like, it's kind of like I've got a 30-year head start on this because I understand deeply fundamentally how it works, where I'm building my own, like, AI platforms. Like, for example, memory systems I'm building. I installed OpenClaw. I cracked it open and started rewriting half the code. Well, not half of it, like a lot of the code. So being able to do that without having, oh, how do I, where do I start? It's like I already know instantly like where to go with it. So having the right people, I think, plugged in to going, hey, Ben, I want to be able to do X. Okay, cool. Here's what you do. And I keep on top of what's going on.
Is mastering AI the new hat, or is AI just a tool to support the main functions of business like marketing and sales and operations?
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. You can get overwhelmed with if you're on social media or if you're on something. It's like there's always something new. Like I'll have a look every day and like, oh, Claude released this, this new tool while I was sleeping, or this new thing came out overnight or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. But I check it out because I want to be at the forefront. I want to create technologies and different, because that's what I want to do. But as a business owners don't need to do that. They don't need to know everything that's come out, because what you really want to do, and it comes back to this like acronym in engineering, which is the purpose of a system is what it does. So what does that mean? It means if we work backwards. So going for those of you that know theory of constraints model, the theory of constraints model is finding the one thing right now that's holding you back from achieving your goal. Right. And so if we think about the theory of constraints model is like this week, okay, my constraint this week is I'm not getting enough leads, or I'm not getting enough sales, or uh, I have a lot more customers, but my operations is not being able to keep up with that. Okay, cool. So what is my issue? Okay, my issue's here. How can I use AI to solve that constraint?
Mm,
Because knowing some new technology does X, Y, Z, if it's not going to solve your constraint, is completely irrelevant to you right now.
got
You
it.
don't even want to waste your time looking at it, because if you're solving a non constraint, it's not growing your business. So I always think of it from, and this is what I do as well. I mean, I do a lot of development and experimentation and things like this. But when it comes to the actual business, we go, okay, well, our current constraint is X. Okay, which tool is going to be the best to solve that constraint? And then you go to the next one. So always think in terms of what is the thing that we need to solve right now. Only do that, and if you can use AI to do that, that's great.
So AI is that plugging tool to a fundamental area of business. So the pillars of business haven't changed. It's just we're plugging AI in to overcome constraints in those particular areas. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's just take a scenario where, you're getting all this demand for your product and you don't have enough people in operations. Like, say you're selling a widget and you're sending them out, you don't have enough people to pack the boxes and send them out in the mail. Traditionally, you go, okay, we need more people. Right. But when you have a look at the constraint that you have right now, maybe traditionally you'd be like, okay, we need more people. But now you might say, hey, is there an AI that could do this? Right. um, or we're not getting enough leads, or we're not getting enough sales, or whatever it is. It's okay. How can AI support that constraint to improve it?
Because from what I've known and seen of what you've been doing lately, is you've been an inventor and creating tools specifically for what you just spoke about, plugging in AI technology into an area of business. So Do you want to just maybe talk through some of the things that you've created that, I mean, I've never seen this stuff before, like Leadfish, for example, like
Mm.
what that does, and other tools that you've phenomenal tools that people have absolutely no idea that you've made, because aren't they exclusive to the mastermind?
Yeah, so exclusively mastermind tools because they're so powerful that they give you such an edge in business, and we're really building them out. And I'm actually just what I'm doing is I'm building them for myself because we go, okay, we have this constraint. Okay, what I could make this kind of tool, and actually, Leadfish came out of that where we wanted to get a bit more efficient on our sales team on calling leads because we had to get more people on the sales team. That was that's the way we would have solved it in the past. 20 years ago, we would just hire tons of salespeople. But we had this problem where are we getting too many people, signing up? Uh, and then, you have to salespeople have to be on the phone for 30 minutes on each lead. X amount of them, they're either not qualified or, or not, they're financially qualified, but not a fit for some specific reason or whatever. Like, it's kind of like manually going through this process. So we had that constraint. So it was like, oh, I'm going to do this. So I built an AI tool called Leadfish, where as soon as a lead comes in, even if you only have the email address, we can, through the proprietary system that I made, it basically gives you 55 data points on that lead. Companies, how long they've been in business, revenue, team size, what do they actually do? What products and services do they sell? There's 55 different things that we find on each lead before we even speak to them. And then it'll tell us, okay, no, this guy, we all get the leads where it's like, Jeff from Telstra. No, this guy is just an employee. Okay, cool, it's not a fit. Okay, yeah, this guy's a high priority lead. Okay, get on to him. So we have a way with the sales team. They look at the list every morning and go, okay, I'm going to call these 6 people, whatever it is, because they're our people. They're the people that, match our ICP, our target market. And so instead of hiring more people, we were able to make that process more efficient because the constraint was leads come in, we don't get to call them quick enough. Right. So I'm just solving my own constraints. And then what actually happened was one of my sales guys, he messaged me at like, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning. He's like, hey, this is really cool. You could sell this. And I'm like, it didn't occur to me that this would be something that we could provide to other people. I'm like, oh yeah, good point. So we built it out for Mastermind.
That reminds me of the story when you were a kid, like paying you $2,000. I didn't realize we'd get paid for this. This is cool. Like it's almost like it's the same thing. It's so cool. So what's something else that you've made? Like what's another constraint that you identified, and what's the AI solution that you built for it?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many we can go on forever, but yeah, maybe we talk about, I made an AI sales coach and sales manager. So
Mm.
we have the team. It's incredibly hard to manage a big sales team. I mean, it's incredibly hard to manage one salesperson because and I was speaking to one of my clients yesterday, you rely on self-reporting. You don't have much visibility about doing sales coaching is kind of like, it's very expensive, very kind of difficult to do. Even if you only had one, but then you start to grow teams, it's very difficult. Sales managers are great, but they only have so many hours in the day. So I built an AI sales manager that manages all the reps, listens to their calls, gives them feedback on what they did well, what they could improve upon, gives us a closability score. So it tells us out of 10 how likely that person's going to sign up as a customer or client. Um, yeah, just a whole lot more stuff. So it's basically replacing a sales manager who does sales coaching as well. So it's an AI one. So we put that in there. Yeah, it's amazing. So that the constraint was, okay, how do we manage these people? And how do we even like improve sales coaching? Because a sales coach can't even listen to every single call and go, hey, hey, Tim, I listened to your call, that you had this morning and you could here's some tips for you, whatever. he can't actually listen to like 6,000 calls or 600 calls a month or whatever, but this can.
Sounds like you're making unfair advantages for you. Like you're creating these tools that just give you such a heads up on over everybody else because you're taking advantage of what AI can do.
Plus, I think it helps that it's kind of like, because I've been doing it for so long, it's just something that I can just sit there and do. You know,
Do you think
I'm not sweating out going, oh, how do I do this? I'm like, oh, we have this constraint. Okay, yeah, let's do that. You know, so I'm solving my own constraints, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, cool. I want to use these to help other people because I want to give these people unfair advantage as well.
do you think that the business owner, we talked about, they're good at what they do. So they're passionate about the doing of their business or maybe their skill or whatever they do.
Uh-huh.
And then we talked about, or the identity of like, I need to be the marketer. If I'm the marketer and I'm driving my business, then I'm going to generate leads and sales and I have the power to scale my business to wherever I want it to go. Do you think that the business owner today needs to learn how to use AI, or do you think they just need to find the right tool or the person or group or to just tap into it? Like, do they need to know it, or do they just need to find it?
That's a good question. Uh, I think it depends on, I think it depends on a lot of things, but I think that, I think fundamentally it's something you should understand. If you look at any great successful person, pick one, pick anyone, you will see, okay, they're great communicators, great marketing, great at sales, right? And AI is the next thing where if you don't understand it enough to know enough about it to either get things done or to effectively delegate it to the right person, like even being able to choose who to work with, you have to know how it works. It's one of those skills that you're going to now have to have. I mean, it's kind of like if you go back to the days when the internet started coming out, you had to learn how to do email. You had to learn how to do website, like visit the internet, you know.
Mm.
And could you imagine someone right now starting a business and they don't even know what the internet is? So
Exactly.
it's one of those skills. Okay, now it's in the past, maybe not so mandatory, but now it is.
Mm. So what's the problem? Let's say we're going to use AI to improve our marketing because I think a lot of businesses want more sales and more leads. That's a
Hmm.
fundamental desire for most companies
Yes.
to, achieve a $1 million, $2 million plus company. What's wrong with just asking ChatGPT or Claude for the marketing copy and the marketing plan straight out of the box?
What's wrong with it? uh, it doesn't have the kind of the knowledge and the experience. I was just speaking to a friend of mine yesterday. He advises on property, like investing in property, and he's done it for 30 years. Like he knows property blindfolded, and and he said he recommended the specific property to the client because he's like, okay, this is a growth corridor. This is what what I see from the data is going to be a really good area for like capital growth. And he gets an email back. He knows this client's like done ChatGPT. Oh, ChatGPT said this was a bad area to buy a property. And he's like, the difference is that it can get data, but it doesn't have the life experience. It doesn't have the reality. It's kind of like, book smart versus street smart. It's like you can read all the business books, but if you've never run a business or do a business degree and you start a business, like, oh, nobody ever taught me like how to overcome this problem. It's having that real knowledge and experience. And so if you're asking ChatGPT, I think can be very helpful. I also, on the other side of the coin, I think it can be very dangerous too, because I think it tends to um hallucinate sometimes in
You're
terms of like,
absolutely right, Ben Simkin.
yeah.
That's what ChatGPT would say. You're
You are
absolutely right.
correct.
You are correct. I was wrong. Oh, I will never do that again.
Where are you going to get the advantage? And the tools that I create have proprietary data. Like I literally sit there for 3 days and I literally go back and forth training the specific model on the knowledge. For example, the sales manager. We have, 15 years worth of calls. We have sales training our sales managers have done. We have coaching, training. We have all the data. So I'm able to go back and forth and reiterate on the training. And it's basically replicating our specific knowledge. If you went to ChatGPT and said, tell me, how I can be better at sales, it would go, well, number one, first of all, you have to listen, you have to ask questions and ask for the sale. It's like, okay, that's very not useful, but it'll give you the nuanced stuff. When it comes to the AI copywriting tool that we made for the mastermind, we put in 20 years worth of winning campaigns, funnels, copywriting, offers, and trained it. And I was going back and forth. And then at the end, I was putting in bad marketing because I needed it to know both sides of the coin. So I went bad, good, and then I would make sure that it was figuring out what it was doing.
Sounds like,
And I got it to a point where it was like, it knew that it was going to create this. And we actually tested it.
you're
So
teaching it.
I created, we had a client and he needed to have a brand new funnel, video sales letter, whole thing. And I was like, I'm going to test this out for real. So we put in everything, comes out the VSL, the funnel, everything else like that. We launched it. He's generating so many leads and getting so many sales like from day one. And like how rare that is usually when you launch a campaign. You got to like optimize it, improve it, tweak it, go through a million creatives to get it to a point where you're like, yeah, I'm happy with the performance. This from day one just started performing. And we're like, oh, wow, this is great. And you know who that client was, so you saw it.
Yeah, it was incredible. And when you told me that, I mean, it's easy to say that AI did it, right? But it's not just that as simple as like asking the question into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. It's like you've worked out how to program it in the sense of like a human being. If you onboard an employee into your organization, there's an onboarding process, right? And you've got to train them and watch the training videos and certify that they know how to do what they do. So you're effectively, you've actually learnt the skill of how to train AI into becoming a master with the 20, 30 years experience on a particular topic to then actually give better quality advice as opposed to surface level out of the box, which could take you in the completely wrong direction.
On the tech side, yeah. But if you think about it, kind of models a human, because if we hire a salesperson, we put them through the training, we get them to listen to, we would always get our salespeople to listen to a whole bunch of successful sales calls to know what a success sounds like. Then we would coach them. Okay, no, that was a bad call because you did this and that. Okay, that was a good call. Yeah, this is what you did really well. So we were manually doing this with human beings. It's the same kind of thing that I'm doing with AI. Is like, here's a good thing, here's a bad thing, here's why.
Do you think you're now the AI? Like, are you the AI wizard, the AI marketer? Like, I mean, you were the Facebook marketer. You were the guy that people went to learn Facebook ads. Are you still that today, or are you something different?
That's a good question. I mean, I think, obviously we still do a lot of Facebook and a lot of marketing. Like I said, it's a primary driver for a business, right? But the AI is kind of like another layer. And I think I think I'm in a unique and lucky position that I do have the background, because you have people that are, started to jump on AI, don't have technical bone in their body just because they've never done it. Right. Or they're doing AI, jumping on that, but they don't have any business or marketing experience. So they don't have the other pieces, which I think is super important to have. And especially when it comes to, say, AI and not understanding the business, it's going to be a waste of time. You're not going to be driving real outcomes. Whereas if you know how the business works and you use AI to solve constraints, that's when you see it grow, right? When it comes to AI, I was a computer hacker when I was 15, 16 years old. So my mind when I'm doing this is like security first. So a lot of these people are like, oh, I got hacked into overnight and they stole my API keys and they did this and did that. It's like, yeah, like you got to be and especially for a company, you have to Like that security is like the most important component, because imagine if you had a company of, I mean, doesn't matter what size it is, but you have all your clients' confidential data in there or something like this, and
Mm.
it gets hacked and leaked. It's like that's probably one of the worst things that could happen to you.
And that could have been you when you were 16 hacking into the system just for fun.
Well, I never did anything malicious. I was playing pranks on people,
It's like
but
the
I never
Bart
deleted any.
Simpson calling up Mo at the tavern going, "I'm looking for a man to hug and kiss."
It pretty much was. I just do stupid things, like I'd like open and close their like CD-ROM drives, or I would like change their wallpaper, change their background wallpaper to like something funny. I never did anything like, what's the word? Like I never damaged or just damaged that. I never deleted any or did stuff like that. It was always like harmless pranks. And that's the kind of stuff that I was doing. Cause like, what's the point of like destroying a computer or deleting a file? Cause it's like, it's not very funny.
No. It's funny for you when you're the person doing
Well,
it,
no,
but
because it's not funny, because I'd rather like get them to giggle on like, or freak them out, freak him out like, "Oh, what's going on?" Like, "Oh, who changed my wallpaper to like, Lego or
exactly,
whatever?"
yeah. So you really are the master of sort of combining technology with marketing. I think that's probably like your greatest
I think
gift
so.
and
Yeah,
your skill, and realizing that I mean, right now they're essential to work together to achieve success. If you do one without the other, you're probably going to be left behind. If you're really good at AI, but you're not very good at marketing, you probably struggle still. But if you're really good at marketing, you're not really leveraging or understand how to tap into what's happening with AI, you'll also probably not, you may not be left behind as much, but like you'll eventually be left behind in your competitive advantage because your other companies will be able to move fast to do more, understand more. Is that right?
exactly. So, I mean, when it comes to a business owner, if they don't know AI, they definitely need to get onto it, because what I was thinking about was like, when you're solving constraints, because you're solving problems, right? There, it's like, okay, we want to get to this goal. We're not able to achieve this goal because of X. Okay, how do we solve X? What I'm thinking about AI is kind of like it kind of solves it permanently. If you think about a lot of the problems that you have, they kind of come back and forth, and they're generally because they rely on people. Jenny wasn't stopped checking, that spreadsheet, and then we realized 6 months later that we had this problem. Well, with AI, it's like, okay, once it's in, you're probably not going to have that constraint anymore, and it's infinitely scalable as well. So it's really interesting, because it's kind of cool that, hey, we can probably solve this constraint either forever or for a very, very long time and not even have to go back to it.
Constraints really is your thing at the moment, isn't it? Like how do we use these tools to overcome a constraint as opposed to let's just use AI because it's there. So it's being able to identify that constraint, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That's always what business has been, is solving constraints, right? It's always been, you wake up, you go, okay, let's look at all the data. Okay, we have a problem over here. Like, for example, we don't have enough people in operations. We don't have enough salespeople. We don't have enough leads, or it's taking too long for a client when they get signed up to deliver the product. It's taking 3 weeks instead of 1 week. Okay, cool. Identify that. It's always been that way. It's just how you've solved it's been different, and I think that's where AI will come into play with a lot of this stuff.
That's amazing. I think just that thing about identifying a constraint and solving it is probably the biggest takeaway that anyone could probably get from this entire podcast
That's good.
because that's a system. You know, it's a system that you can replicate and not get overwhelmed in all the distractions that occur with all the messaging that we're seeing on social media and advertising right now about feeling left behind and you need to do this and you need to do this and you need to do this. But breaking it down to the simplistic, simple method of what's my constraint? What am I going to do to overcome it? And then identify the next constraint.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. Because you don't need to. In fact, if you jumped on every single tool that came out every 24 hours, you're actually you're going backwards, because you're focusing your time and energy on things that are not relevant to the progress of the business.
Mm,
Like, the only thing you should ever be working on is the thing to make that business move one step forward.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Ben, I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom today.
Thank
Like,
you,
that was
Michael.
freaking amazing. And if someone wants to learn a little bit more about you, get in contact with you, or find out about AI or the mastermind or anything, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram, Benjamin Simkin. You can go to the mastermind.com.au or .com as well. Yeah, it's probably the two best ways to do it.
Awesome. Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. It's been fantastic.